Niall, here we are in Dublin. You've just launched Tourism Ireland's marketing plans for 2018. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, as you said, we're here in Dublin today showcasing what we're doing in 2018. Off the back of a very good year in 2017, it's the best ever year for Irish tourism. And when you reflect on the numbers at the end of this year, it looks like about 10.65 million people will have visited the island of Ireland.
Which is remarkable.
It's a remarkable figure given that we have a population of about 6.5 million people on the island as a whole. More importantly is the spend, and the spend will be in excess of €5.5 billion for the island as a whole. So looking into 2018, we're still optimistic. We know there's challenges out there, but we put out very ambitious targets today to grow tourism spend to the island of Ireland by 5%, driven by a 2% increase in visitor numbers to 10.8 million. But it'll mean that overseas tourism spend will be €6 billion next year, supporting in excess of 280,000 jobs across the whole island of Ireland, north, south, east and west.
Yeah, a real export industry, because all that spend is from overseas visitors. So it's hugely valuable to the economy.
Absolutely, and I think it really puts tourism as like the number one indigenous industry in Ireland, no question about it. And what's important about those jobs is not just big cities like Dublin and Belfast, it stretches into every single town and village around the island of Ireland.
Yeah, and where do you see the growth coming next year? Because we know that Britain is having a difficult time, will probably have a difficult time for the next 12 months, what with Brexit, what with currency, what with consumer confidence. So therefore the growth must be coming from other markets.
Yeah, we set out an interesting chart today on the path to market diversification, which we started off in 2014. And what you saw is mainland Europe has gained an extra €500 million in spend. Mainland Europe now is accruing about €1.9 billion worth of spend from overseas tourism. North America has leapfrogged into second place, up 62% in the last 3 years. Britain, despite our difficulties this year, is still actually 15% ahead of where it was 3 years ago. And Australia and developing markets showing very strong growth of over 30% in the last 3 years. We expect to see a fairly similar pattern next year. We expect to see North America probably going stronger than anywhere else, about a 7% increase in revenue. Mainland Europe doing well also, and Australia and developing markets, albeit off a smaller base. We find it hard to see Great Britain revenue growing next year, but I would have to caveat that by saying it really depends on where the exchange rate lands.
Yes.
We've seen forecasts of anything from 0.83 to 0.95, and they're very, very different scenarios. You know, obviously, if you come back to 0.83, the value for money really does improve a lot. Yeah. If it goes out to 0.95, it's a much more difficult scenario. But in relation to the whole Brexit scenario, what we did, and you yourself, we worked very closely with ITIC on it, and also the European Tour Operators Association and UK Inbound, and on a collaborative strategy. We have had 2 Brexit summits in Britain so far. We'll have another one in February 2018 to monitor and assess where things are, and it's important that we continue to do research like we've done with Red Sea. We've done 3 independent surveys to evaluate where the British mindset is in terms of taking holidays. Because if there's one thing for certain about Brexit, Brexit will come and Brexit will go, and no one knows what shape it'll take for certain. But you know, people will still take their holidays, and according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, we expect to see about a 50% lift in global travel and tourism between now and 2030, and we have to make sure that we're well positioned for that.
Yeah, and make sure Ireland gets its fair share of it. The growth from the states that you mentioned, or the forecasted growth from the states that you mentioned, that's largely driven or certainly influenced by direct air access. There's been a significant increase in that this year and next.
Yeah, direct air access has been a huge factor in the last number of years, and I mean, I think Aer Lingus and all the carriers, you know, have done a great job. But I'd have to compliment Aer Lingus. I mean, opening a new base in Seattle, having just opened one in Miami, another one in Philadelphia, and you know, probably more expansion to come as the fleet expands in 2019 and beyond, gives us an amazing opportunity. Air Canada have done a great job. For example, new Montreal, Dublin route next year, new Toronto, Shannon route as well. Really positions as well. An 8% increase in lift from the United States. 15% increase in Canadian lift, all in all means that we've got a great opportunity now to grow visitor numbers up to nearly 1.9 million from North America in 2018. Very optimistic about that.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And of course Americans are great spenders and travel around the country, which is a big plus. There's a lot of talk in media circles about Chinese tourism and the explosion in Chinese tourism and the growth of the middle classes and so on. What's your take on that? What's your view in relation to China and how ready Ireland is to get some of that business?
Well, first of all, China is the largest outbound tourism market in the world. I mean, in excess of 160 million Chinese people will travel abroad this year. It's important to analyse the market and put those numbers in perspective, though. Most of those people are travelling closer to home, staying in places like Japan, Hong Kong, Macau. About 5 million Chinese visitors will come to Europe. We're obviously trying to grow our share as well. We expected to finish off this year with 50,000, but we expect it to be near 70,000 Chinese. So it's coming off a small base, but growing very rapidly. when you talk to some of the key attractions like the Guinness Storehouse, like Titanic, the Giant's Causeway, they're all growing in really strong double-digit figures. So what we're seeing is additional lift coming in now. We've got the first flight from Hong Kong. Cathay Pacific will fly 4 times a week, which is great news. Double dailies with Emirates, double dailies with Etihad. And Qatar now, the daily flight linking us to 160 cities around the globe. Ally that with the British Irish visa scheme, which makes it easier for people to come here. And then our sales missions, which have been going out every year. I'll travel out again on our sales mission to China, 4-city tour in May. And I think the businesses that are coming out that are working the market hard are certainly seeing the rewards. But it is a market that you have to know before you put your foot into it. You have to be prepared for it. And Fáilte Ireland, in conjunction with Tourism Northern Ireland and Tourism Ireland, have put together now a new China Ready programme. And it's great to see the first business has been accredited there. And it's all those small steps that you need to take. China, you've got the language, you've got just various customs, you've got food that you need to be prepared for. But it is an opportunity, there's no question about that. It's going to continue to grow rapidly between now and 2020, and I think there are certain businesses that will be really well positioned for it.
Yeah. Just a little bit about the marketing budget. I mean, it's finite. I mean, I know your marketing budget, I think, is down circa 40% over the last few years since the austerity years commenced. That must be a massive challenge for you and your Tourism Ireland colleagues, because you want to make an impression and keep Ireland front of mind in all these global markets. And yet, there's only so much money in the kitty.
Yeah, and look, we have to play with the cards that we're dealt with. It's tough, but a lot of other agencies have found it tough as well. We're probably down about 40% from where we were 7 or 8 years ago. It's meant that we've had to innovate and do things very, very differently. There's been implications for our brand health. Our share of voice is dramatically declined in various markets, but we have to go out there and innovate and be a little bit different. We've been very fortunate. We've been working hard with the likes of Lucasfilm and Star Wars, HBO and Game of Thrones. We got an amazing success out of those.
Yeah, and they're great innovations.
Great innovations, and we've been well rewarded for those, which is great. Ireland.com has been a great success for us as well. We bought that from the Irish Times back in 2012. We'll have 20 million visitors to that in 2018. But our social media space has been phenomenal. Again, we've been in that since about 2010. We were early starters. And you take our 4 million friends on Facebook and our 500,000 on Twitter and 36 people viewing our videos on YouTube, and you take their audience that they're talking to, we actually have a digital global reach of 1 billion people around the globe. So it's a very powerful platform, and we can't get complacent because it's a very busy space and you have to innovate all the time. So I think as we head into 2018, we'll continue to develop screen tourism, continue to develop the digital arena. We're going to work on new brand partnerships next year as well. So companies like Vod that we worked with last year, the outdoor clothing company in Germany. We're going to work with Der Tour to amplify our TV advertising in Germany. We worked with Saks Fifth Avenue in New York and Beverly Hills last year. So we're going to work with the Weather Channel in Canada to convince people that there's never a bad time for weather in Ireland.
Absolutely.
And companies like Amazon as well. So it's about working with new partners that are not in the travel and tourism space to give people a bit of a jolt.
Great. Niall, thank you so much. Thanks to you and the Tourism Ireland team, both here in Dublin and globally, for all your hard work.
Well, thanks very much, and thanks to you and your colleagues and everybody in the industry. I have to say, it's a team effort, and I'm lucky and privileged to watch Ireland be promoted around the world, and we really do, all of us, punch above our weight. So thanks to all our industry colleagues who will really pull behind us. Happy Christmas to everybody. I look forward to working with everyone again in 2018.